Well, my neighbor just come by and asked me if I'd make some square bales for him, maybe tomorrow. So we're gonna have to get the baler out and get it ready. So we'll get the cart and we'll take it out there. You may or may not be able to tell, but I was trimming trails this morning for about 3 hours. So yeah, everything's a disaster out here. All right, we got the old Hayliner 68 pulled up here. Got the grease gun. I gotta grease everything. It shouldn't be that. I only made like 50 some bales with it in the fall because it was so dry, and then it really wasn't worth my time because of all the other things that happened. So last fall I used it to make hay, and that's when I ended up breaking the spindle on the 4000 and all the stuff that went down to make like 50 some bales. Good times, good times. But that's farming. Turned off real dry. Didn't get no rain. It rained in August, but it was too late then. So yeah, we'll get it ready. I gotta check the string. I take that back. I made like 30 some bales at my buddy's. That ought to be enough. No snakes. What's left of a rat's nest. Either last spring, I think last spring there was a big black snake in here. Kind of scared me a little bit. You know, not necessarily scared of black snakes, but you open it up, stick your head in there, and there's one sitting right there in front of you. Kind of makes you jump a little bit. So we'll grease. I think there's about 1,000 grease points on this thing. No, there's like 25 or something. They're everywhere. And every time you think you got them all, there's one you missed. So we'll get this thing greased. And today's Wednesday. Today's Tuesday, May the 3rd. Man, it's hot out here. It's like 90 some degrees. It's not. I think the high of the day is supposed to be like 88, which is warm. But at least there's a breeze. So tomorrow he wants to try to bale. He cut a field Monday. I saw him cutting it, and I was wondering what he was doing because he wasn't cutting anything else, just that one field, and he came every day. He talked to me previously about helping him make some hay. He's an older gentleman, and I told him I'd help him. And so yeah, I'm gonna make some square bales for him. He's got cows and stuff. Well, I had this big ball of old string in the toolbox here, and I decided to clean everything out. These are bags. I got a bunch of bolts in here that I use for shear bolts. This thing was out of time for a long time. I got a video on my channel about putting it in time, and these are bolts that had sheared off, and we just threw them in there. But this was all the stuff that was inside there. And it was out of time when I got it, and some of these bolts have been in there a long time that I don't think I put in. And there's all these set screws, and I don't know what they went to. Allen-headed set screws. I don't know. Some bushings, lock collars, all kinds of stuff. But I've got the cover. I'm going to try to put the cover on, but first I'm going to get the vacuum cleaner and try to vacuum this thing out. All right, I think we got the baler as good as I'm going to get it right now. I contemplated sharpening the ram knife inside there, but could not get it loose. Put the old Craftsman impact on it, and it didn't even budge the bolts. Their pan head recessed in there. But it's pretty beat up. You can stick your hand in there and feel it's pretty beat up. But I don't have time to try to mess with it today, and if something breaks while I'm messing with it, well then you're screwed, because I gotta make hay next week. So I did get it all greased up, chain lubed. I think she's ready to go. I also went and got a hinge, put that on. I got a hinge right there to fix that one. And oh yeah, I got this too. This is a Snowco umbrella, tractor umbrella. And it's like very generic, comes with some ways to mount it, but I just put some U-bolts through the fender. I'm not worried about drilling holes in the fender. If I was worried about drilling holes in the fender, then I would have mounted it some other way. But the David Brown's not really good for mounting. They don't have a lot of space between the fenders. You know, you can't slide the fenders out. It's hard to put stuff right there. It's got all this stuff in the back. It's hard to mount stuff. So, but it's pretty sturdy, and I think it'll be all right. Well, he's over there raking, so I guess we're gonna be baling before too long. He's also got a David Brown. It's a 995 though. So there. So we got the hay made. He wanted 100 bales made, so I made him 100 bales. And it looks like it's gonna rain. They ain't got nobody to help him get it up. So now I'm also hauling hay. He's gonna bale the rest of this with his round baler, but there's some storms coming, so let's try to get the rest of this up. All right, we're done with that. I baled him 100 bales, give or take. David Brown did exceptional. The umbrella worked great. The baler, I don't know what's going on with the baler. I would say out of the 100 bales, 80 were perfect. I mean, there's one right there. 80 were like you would see in a catalog. Perfect. And 5% were probably, you know, decent. Another 5 were probably just extremely loose. Just crazy loose. And at least 10, maybe more, busted. They just come out, they didn't tie when they came out. And I went back and tried to bust. I went back and tried to bail them again. They don't like to be bailed again. It doesn't like to pick up just enough for one bale and bail it. So I pulled all the hay out of the chute. This one busted. This one came out. You know, I wanted to check my dogs. You know, my dogs right here, the hay dogs. Both of them seem fine. The bottom hay dog, spring-loaded dog, is intact. I got to sharpen the knife, but I couldn't get the bolts loose. The ram knife. So I finally broke down and ordered a catalog for this thing, a manual, parts manual, and a owner's manual, operator's manual, and it's kind of late. Every spring when I make hay, I'm like, I'm gonna work on this thing once I'm done making hay, and then I never do it. But I think time's come to where this is super loose. The idler pulley's already maxed out, so I need to take a link out of that chain. I'm gonna see about adjusting the knotters, but I mean, it did all right. It did all right. So anyway, that's this video. I'm still working on the 600. I ended up having to order a dust seal for it. Nobody had one that would fit it. It cross-referenced, but it was too small. So I had to get online and order an actual, I think it's an NCA 1190 dust seal. So that's supposed to be here this weekend. And I helped him get the hay up. We're trying to dodge the rain. He round baled the rest of it. He made 4 round bales with what was left. So, but anyway, I appreciate you guys watching, and I'll see you next time. Like, subscribe, I'd really appreciate it.